Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time of day it is. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Dr. Don. For your first time viewers, Conversations with Dr. Don is an ongoing series of 1 hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one of a kind individuals and whatever it is that we have decided to talk about. And my guest this evening, Mike Berchet, an old friend of mine who's been on the show a number of times in the past. And pressing him into service again when I think we need to pick his brain to see what's going on today. And there's a lot going on, and you've always got good answers and good questions and good discussion about it, Mike. And thanks for coming on again.
My pleasure.
How are you feeling right now?
A little tired. I worked a full shift at work today. I had to deal with rush hour traffic, yada, yada, yada. But that's, other than that, I'm feeling good.
I'm feeling good now. I had a little bite to eat between shows because I was running out of steam. Blood sugar was low. And no, I'm fine now. So, topical issues as of July 17, 2013. I've got a list of what I think is of topical issues. And why don't we start with who you are, okay? Basic bio stuff. And when and where were you born?
When and where? I was born, just my luck, April 1st, 1961.
April 1st?
I kind of wish my parents would have done the math before they, And I'm a native of Portland, Oregon. I've been in the Portland area all my life.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And why were you born?
My parents couldn't wait for the honeymoon. No, that's the way nature happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one sperm cell that made it.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're going to talk about your book?
I could.
What a colorful book. I'm jumping the gun here about it, but who's going to show this? Yeah.
And they're camera 3, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, slow time. There we go. Michael Berchet's Slow Time. You'll tell us a little more about the book?
Yeah, first of all, the name on top is my pen name. That's just the phonetic spelling of my last name. So if I'm going to be interviewed by someone who's never met me before, I'd like them to pronounce my last name right.
All righty. Anything? We'll talk about the book some more in a few minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Anything significant about your cultural heritage that's worth mentioning?
Not too much. It's just basically kind of a pan-European mixture in me. About half German, quite a bit of Irish and English. The most French part about me is my last name.
Uh-huh.
But I think a slight majority of my ancestry is German.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 4 children. I've got 2 younger brothers, and my sister is the youngest of us siblings.
Mm-hmm. Do they like you?
Oh, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, they give me presents during Christmas and all that.
You always had fun with you. You can poke fun at me if you want to anytime because I'm awake now again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Religious preference. Do you have one of those?
I would answer none of the above.
None of the above. I forgot to mention that you're also a fellow humanist.
Yeah. I was born I was baptized as a Catholic when I was born, and I stayed that way until just after high school. Then I just kind of drifted around. There's some experiences that kind of soured me on organized religion in general. And I just kind of shopped around after I graduated high school to see what else was out there. And actually, I kind of liked not being part of a religion. Mm-hmm. So several years, actually about, almost 2 decades later, I came across a table that the Humanists of Greater Portland had. Actually, they were under their original name back then, up at some Peace Fair up in Northeast Portland in a park, and I really liked what I read and said, hey, I think I'll check these people out. So the first meeting I attended was a group discussion at Dorothy Vay's house. That's where I met, the other humanists who were there at the time. And it was a very stimulating conversation. It was right up my alley. I felt, yeah, I think I'll keep going with this for a while. And I'm still here.
Yeah. And you don't believe in the hereafter or God and intelligent design, none of that stuff?
No.
Okay, I thought you were a fundamentalist something or other. Fundamentalist humanist?
Fundy kind of guy.
Yeah. How about your education? Any comment about your formal education?
Nothing too special. I graduated on time from high school in class of '79 from Aloha High School. And I attended PCC mostly at the Sylvania campus, majoring in commercial art. And I found out there that I was more of a cartoonist and a writer than I was an actual illustrator. So I decided to kind of give that a rest for a while. I later returned to PCC, this time at Cascade campus, to nurture my interest in music. And from there I graduated with an associate's degree in vocational music. And but I'm still playing bands and such. I learned a lot there. I don't make much money from it. My day job is as a letter carrier for the U.S. Postal Service.
And how long you been doing that for the Postal Service?
17 years now.
17 years?
I'm kind of one of the spring chickens compared to some of the people who I work with.
Is the Postal Service going to survive at all?
Well, as a postal employee, I'm sort of not at liberty to discuss much about that.
Yeah.
I think it will survive. I can't, like I said, I can't really make much conjecture about that without getting into some trouble. But I think it will survive.
Yeah, it's funny. Something like the Postal Service does something to my gut or my heart on the insides when I think about, is the Postal Service going to survive? It's like something in America that's apple pie or motherhood, that sort of a thing. I can't imagine there not being a Postal Service, because when I was a kid growing up in New Orleans, in Creole country, in the 7th Ward, they if somebody worked for the post office, you could tell by their house and their home, because they were middle class and solid, and the gardens were all there and everything was just right. And working class people in that neighborhood were all different levels of success as indicated by their surroundings and their homes and that sort of thing. So it was all, had a special respect for the postman. So I have a special respect for you, Mike.
Oh, thank you. Wait till you see me on an off day delivering mail. I don't want to do this anymore. Why do I have to do this?
Do you have a partner, a wife, a boyfriend, a girlfriend?
No, I'm still single. Don't look at me like that. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm straight but not narrow.
Yeah.
No. Still available.
Still available. Okay, you got that out there. He's still available. Okay. And how would you characterize your political persuasion?
Oh, I'm sort of slightly left of center. I used to be a little further to the left, but as I get older, I tend to kind of broaden my viewpoint about such things. I mean, there's a lot of things I still want to see happen in the United States, from a liberal perspective, but I also have some friends who are also rather slightly to the right. I don't have any extreme right friends, and I've kind of gotten away from the extreme left friends. And it's just sort of a moderation in all things, as Aristotle put it, when it comes to politics.
And you're a humanist.
Yeah.
Do you know any right-wing humanists?
Just slightly. I don't I don't know how you mean right wing, as in.
I'm not sure what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there aren't. As well, our past president Steve Jacobs pointed out at one of our meetings.
He's a fine thinker. I like Steve.
Oh, he really is. Yeah, he told us that we cannot go. He kind of called some people on bashing the Republican Party, and of course, there's quite a few politicians, in both parties that kind of ask for bashing in some of their antics and their sayings and such. But yeah, we do need to respect that there are other. Oh, what am I trying to think? Kind of like the devil's advocate type of thing, where you can't have a whole group think in an organization. That's not healthy. It's kind of like political inbreeding in a way, where everybody gets the same mindset, and
and that's it. This is no deviation from that.
yeah, and you end up causing more harm than good.
Yeah. So, in a few words, you're a humanist. What is it about yourself and your thinking and anything else about you that lets you summarize your impression of yourself as being a humanist? What is a humanist?
Well, it's basically somebody who has a deep respect for his own species or he or she has been born into. You want to understand that species. I guess since I was sort of an outsider my whole life, especially in school, I tend to take things into a much bigger picture, and in some ways I'm not very good at specifics, but in the general scope of things I think I observe pretty well. And humanity, I can't say we're the absolute apex of evolution or anything like that. There's quite a few scientists who say the dinosaurs actually had us in longevity so far that we know.
So are humans going to die out as a species?
It depends on what kind of leaders the humans are choosing. And I think we need to make more informed decisions about who we're choosing our leaders. I mean, not all of us can be a leader.
Yeah.
And
how about the leadership in our country today? And where they're taking us, where they're leading us?
if you can't say something nice, no.
It does.
No, actually, yeah, boy, it's so hard to say because on the one hand, yeah, some of the stuff they're doing is pretty dire. You know how I haven't read enough or thought enough about Obamacare, for example, to make an informed decision. But so much of what I see reported, it's just a lot of, it's like they're treating a very important job, which is politics, as a sport.
Yeah.
You know, let's sack the other guy as quarterback.
Yeah.
You know, instead of actually running the country. I mean, it shouldn't matter too much, you know, Democrats or Republican majorities or third, fourth party, you know, minorities, or whatever, as long as everybody is focused on helping, you know, the whole country rather than their own special interest groups who paid for their elections.
Yeah. Special interest groups will pay for elections. So they own the legislators, the special interest group, big money?
I'm tending to think that way, especially I feel the majority of the Supreme Court owe their positions to those big corporations' influence and electing officials who lobby to have these people put into the bench.
Some are suggesting recently that the direction the country is heading is becoming too conservative, or the wealth gap is getting worse and worse,
Mm-hmm.
and the middle class is disappearing, and the super rich never get enough. They need more and more. And if it keeps going in this direction, there is indeed going to be a major revolt in this country, and that scares me to death.
I keep thinking, especially recent remarks made by one of the Koch brothers about doing away with the minimum wage laws. It's like that kind of mindset that's turning us away from a modern democracy into more of a feudal society,
Yeah.
where if you want a decent job or something, you have to, suck up to the rich folks. Work for them, and they'll treat you very nicely. And if you don't work for them, well, your life is worthless.
Yeah. Do you have any memberships in political, social, or civic organizations that come to mind? Yeah, you belong to the Humanists of Greater Portland. I know that. Any other organizations that you belong to?
Well, I also am a longtime subscriber to the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Yeah.
Also, I have a subscription. I'm a supporter of the Union of Concerned Scientists.
UCS, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Council for the CSI. My mind is just going. The Council for Skeptical Inquiry.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been with them for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Good organizations, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I feel I'm more of a cheerleader than an actual player in things like that. I mean, I can, give my opinion and all that, but I go to those organizations to get a more informed opinion.
yeah. Any persons from the past or alive today that you particularly admired or look up to, I like Gandhi and Jesus and those kind of characters.
Yeah, they're on the list. There's others. I think one of them spring to mind was Hypatia. She was the Hellenistic astronomer and mathematician back in ancient Alexandria who met a horrible fate under Cyril, who's now Saint Cyril of Alexandria. But to be a woman back in those times and to have such a prestigious position that she did says a lot about her character and her personality, her charisma, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, I'm trying to think who else. Albert Einstein's another.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
You were too young to remember FDR.
Yeah, I can admire him too. I mean, being a politician, he's got his share of skeletons in the closet, probably.
We all
But
got some.
I think that he guided us away from the Depression and through most of World War II.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing.
Yeah. So can we talk a little about your book right now? Because
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
want to let time
Yeah.
go by, but we don't talk about it. The design of that cover, is that your design?
Yes, yeah, I did that on my computer.
Oh, it's neat.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'm more of a cartoonist than an actual illustrator.
Uh-huh.
Again, try not to get the lights glare on that. Okay, but anyway, yeah, it's described inside the book. What this drawing is from.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to do many spoilers on this. Actually, a lot of the questions you're asking me tonight about, my thoughts and about various politicians and religion is reflected in this book here. I figure I'm much better off putting stuff into fiction, but still getting my opinions across without coming off too dry. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever want to write a blog. I mean, I could, but it's just like everybody else has one out there practically, and
Yeah.
some are great and some are just rants.
What can you say about the book that would make people curious enough to buy it and want to watch it without giving away too much?
Okay, well, it's
Slow time.
this stems from my, just desire to have a whole diverse group of friends. And the plot is these aliens called Bassians, they're exiled from their planet, which their planet is later dead when they try to come back to it. And they make periodic stops to Earth to get plant life for the new planet that they're terraforming, not too far away. And just out of chance, they come across this orphaned prehistoric girl named they call Clover, because she loves eating clover. And they can really sympathize with her, so they adopt her. And then they kind of repeat the pattern every time they come back to Earth for more plant samples. They find a human who has been unfairly rejected from their society.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of a twofold thing. One, it helps build their morale, because basically they're living in a trailer after their apartment house burned down, metaphorically. Well, they when they reach modern day Earth, the rise in human technology catches them totally off guard. Because they come back every 300 years or so. Hence the name slow time. That refers to Einsteinian physics about time slowing down the faster you move.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, their latest adoptee, they rely on him to kind of describe what's happening on Earth, because they don't trust our internet. They find a lot of garbage, puerile entertainment they call it, and they don't know what to trust, so they're very hands-on people. So they have a landing party come down to Forest Park here in Portland, where they can hide, somewhat. They know they can't hide forever, so Charlie Schwitters is their latest adoptee, and he's a homeless science teacher who got screwed over by this right-wing religious political organization called Fellowship America, because he did not want to teach intelligent design at the school he was at. So he agrees to help the Bassians and their human adoptees. So that's that gets the ball rolling there.
It's pretty good sized book.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write it?
A year and a half, mostly in my spare time at work. I have a half-hour lunch. I break out my laptop and work some more on it. And I just, throughout my days, since my job doesn't require too much thought, if I'm on a route that I'm familiar with, the ideas just start coming to me, and then it's just a matter of writing them down and see how they look in print, then, make whatever corrections. Yeah, but actually, people who've read all the way through it, and quite a few people have, said it moves very fast, got some really interesting characters, and the chapters are, average about 6 to 10 pages. So it's digestible.
Oh, good. Okay. So you're starting to work on your next novel?
I'm working on, I've actually finished quite a few much smaller novels. Most of them are like prequels and sequels to Slow Time. I've got another one I tried writing. I kind of got off of it for a bit. It's more of a, it's not science fiction, it's just a drama. I kind of decided to kind of put that aside for the time being until I can finalize my thoughts on it a little better. So
that's your calling, to be a writer, huh?
Could be. I mean, I love telling stories and all that. I mean, years ago, I tried writing what we now call a graphic novel. It's kind of a comic book. And that took a lot of my time. I mean, that's where I think where I honed my skills as a dialogue writer. But I had to discontinue that because I just couldn't write it and draw it fast enough. And there's a lot of stuff I did not know how to draw very convincingly. So I figured, no, I think I'm a much better storyteller than I am an actual illustrator. I still draw cartoons from time to time, though.
How do you see today's mainstream media? Is it generally left, right, or centrist?
It's opportunistic, pretty much.
Opportunist.
As in, it's very ratings driven.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, there's some, out there like Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman, and there's Pacifica Radio. I mean, there's still some, progressive voices out there. Thing is,
And not many.
yeah, if I want to look on today's, on DirecTV, which I subscribe to, so much of the media I see, I don't want to say it's either extremely right or extremely left. It's just basically appealing to the lowest common denominator,
Yeah.
throwing in a whole bunch of crazy special effects and wild transitions between shots to keep everybody's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it gets a little disgusting at times to watch it. Even some of the science shows I see on there, I'm kind of looking, okay, so what's being said here and what's kind of being left out to make a better story?
PBS is my favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
Free Speech TV and PBS and HBO, and now and then there's a movie I haven't seen. And I find lately I've been watching movies that I've seen once or twice before because I'm bored stiff and I got nothing I'm reading and I want to be entertained and get my mind away from what's going on. And Patton isn't available anymore, but I've got a DVD of it. Lawrence of Arabia, those old classics,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm partial to the Caine Mutiny myself.
Yeah. What's going on in America or in the world today that is worth talking about? Anything come to mind now? I got a whole list of stuff here, but from the top of your head, any?
Oh, I'm trying to think here. I'm really interested in how the Mars rovers are doing. Also, what the astronomers are finding with new, well, not new, but newly discovered solar systems outside of here. They're finding potentially Earth-like planets out there, which I think is really encouraging.
Yeah. So it looks like we better take a break because my director is going to yell at me, and then we'll come back and talk some more about other topical issues and whatever else is coming up. So let's go to, okay, the mics are off and okay, we're back. Thanks for staying tuned. And for you viewers who missed the opening of the show, the conversations with Dr. Don that you're watching right now is an ongoing series of 1-hour standalone talk shows where I interview interesting people like most of you out there about who they are as unique, one-of-a-kind individuals and about whatever it is that we've decided to talk about. And we're talking about topical issues this evening. And Mike Berchet is an old friend of mine, fellow humanist, and we've been together on the show before, and we always have all sorts of stuff to talk about because we're having a good time, and I hope you're having a good time listening to us go back and forth here. So let's continue on now. I have a list of things here that we can talk about. Shall I mention a few?
Yeah, go ahead. Your pick.
How about Snowden, the whistleblower? Is he a hero or is he a traitor?
Oh, I don't want to call him a traitor. As for hero, I think it's more like somebody who really means well, but he's probably really put his foot into it. And as for, you know, what's going to happen to him, I have no idea. I just hope he conducts himself with dignity. If, you know, should he eventually be caught and brought to justice. I do not want to see him get railroaded, but at the same time, you know, I think he does need to be held responsible for what he has done.
Do you think Ellsberg is a traitor? Daniel Ellsberg, Vietnam War time, was a whistleblower. Pentagon Papers.
Oh, I just saw something on him.
Yeah.
No, I do not think he's a traitor.
Well, I see Snowden and Bradley Manning and Julian Assange and those kinds of whistleblowers as being heroes in saving this experiment called America, experiment in democracy. And I forget who it was who suggested that Snowden be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize to counter Obama having received the Nobel Peace Prize, and Henry Kissinger for that matter.
And George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I think, a little too soon to tell what the consequences are going to be, what he's done. I think, but yeah, it is good to get this stuff into the light.
Secrets, secrets, secrets. Oh.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit about Zimmerman, should he have been convicted of something, or do you think he was guilty of?
I'll admit I have not been following that too much. A good friend of mine who's a libertarian, been following that. He's also a member of the NRA, and we kind of had a bit of a discussion on that. It was kind of like with the Rodney King incident, where the jurors saw far more of the video footage than the rest of the public did, and so they made their decisions based mostly on that. Let's see. As for Zimmerman, I think, you know, from what I know, he probably just got too carried away with his crusade.
Yeah, when they advised him to stay in his car, that's when the whole situation changed. And that's where it changed. And I think he should have at least gotten a conviction of manslaughter.
That would probably...
This is going to hang around for a long time, and it isn't over yet. Yeah. Are we experiencing climate change on the Earth today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think it's the way a lot of our leadership, well, especially the oil industries, the coal industries and all that, I think they're probably committing the ultimate crime against humanity, the way they're conducting themselves about this, hiring scientists to say, oh, no, this is just a cyclical thing. Well, there's a lot of more informed, climatologists who have been studying this for years, and they have a lot more science and evidence and fossil evidence to back up their claims that no, something's going wrong here. And I think it's basically our ignorance and bad habits with our fossil fuels.
Yeah. The IMF and the World Bank, you think they're good organizations for the welfare of ordinary citizenry? International Monetary Fund. And
yeah, I know what those are. Oh boy, I'm barely competent with my own bank account, so I can't really judge on that. I hear all the conspiracy theories, things like that.
And sometimes there are real conspiracies too.
Yeah, true. But from me, just going through my day-to-day routines and all that. There's so many blogs and media out there, it kind of goes into a blur for me on things like that.
There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How about health care in our country compared to health care and the rest of so many countries in the rest of the world, the industrialized world. American healthcare is just awful compared to what's going on in.
Yeah, want to understand. I mean, I myself have a pretty good coverage myself. However, I'm with a very established organization, the U.S. Postal Service.
Oh yes, yes.
There's a lot of people out there, a lot of people I know, and relatives included, who have horror stories about what they have to go through, you know, to get some decent medical procedures done.
Why don't we have Medicare for all Americans, and so that every American has a birthright, has a right to medical care. I don't know why we don't do that. Well, I know why we don't do it, but we should be doing it.
And I think so much of it's that fallacy that everything should be run like a business. And I think there are some services out there that absolutely need to be part of our infrastructure to keep our people healthy. And where was I going with that? But you know, when people call in sick, that costs not just in terms of lost income for the person calling in sick, but also it's a strain on those who have to take up the slack on the job.
Okay.
So.
Okay, next subject.
Go ahead.
Drones. What do you think of drones? You think the drones are a good idea? America flying drones all over the world?
No. No, as a matter of fact, yeah, I heard recently about there's some operators of drones who I guess they actually got to see the damage they were caused, and they put in for PTSD treatment.
Really? Those young troops who are sitting looking at computer screens?
Yeah, and it's a sort of a desensitization process as a side effect to that. I mean, it might be efficient or whatever, but efficient at what?
Yeah. So do you think America has the right to go any place in the world that wants to and kill somebody, whether an American citizen or because they've decided that this person is a possible probable threat to America's security, and at will it can go anywhere in the world and use a drone and kill that person? Do you think that's fair?
Not really. No, because even though it's state-of-the-art technology, you know, there's been, from what I understand, in Yemen, innocent people also getting killed as a result of, you know, mistaken identity and things like that. I mean, it seems like a mindset of instant gratification in the, you know, the higher ups in the military who approve of things like this. And you know, sometimes that instant gratification comes a way too high of a price, especially if somebody else is paying that price with their lives.
So, the Middle East. What's been going on in the Middle East and North Africa in the past 5 or 6 years? Just incredible.
Oh, the Arab Spring?
Yeah, it's incredible. What's going on in Egypt nowadays?
Well, apparently the most aggressive people, the Muslim Brotherhood, filled the vacuum left, was it Mubarak?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he stepped down, and it was like Frank Burns taking over for Colonel Blake in MASH. I mean, it was already badly run, and then this clown takes over and tries to, you know, assert, you know, Sharia law basically on a country that it would probably be economically and socially suicidal to try to establish Sharia law in Egypt. I mean, their tourist industry, I think, would just go down the toilet.
Yeah.
You know, it's too dangerous, especially for women to visit there, especially, you know, women protesters being gang raped in the streets. That's just unspeakable. It's irresponsible.
Is the U.S. involved in what's going on in Egypt nowadays?
I think to a certain extent it is. I can't really give you an informed answer
Sure.
on what level.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we have our fingers in so many pies around the world.
Yeah. And Afghanistan and even Iraq, those aren't settled. It's the old classic game of let's you and him fight.
Mm-hmm.
If I think you may be a threat to me, then I'll talk to you about your neighbor is coming to get you, provoke a fight between you two, and that way you're so preoccupied destroying each other until you don't threaten my domination of you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings me to Israel and Palestine, Palestinians. What do you think of that? What's going on in the Middle East there between Israel and Palestine?
Oh boy, where do you begin on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the one hand, I think both people, deserve the right to live in that area, but it's like there's such old hatreds between the peoples. I don't think either side is particularly angelic about it. I think the Israeli government has a lot to answer for the way they treat the Palestinians. And that's about all I can say on that one so far.
Israel has a lot of nuclear weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So then why is it that no other country in that part of the world can have nuclear weapons and Israel can? Is that fair?
I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think nuclear weapons are a good idea at all anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like having the big Rottweiler in the front yard being held to his doghouse by a piece of thread. Just about.
How about U.S. gun violence? Do you think there's too much guns on the streets in America?
Oh, I'll let you know, I own one 6-shooter in my house. I've only used it, I only intend to use it on just paper targets or maybe shooting cans off a fence post or something. I do think we should have guns. The thing is, so much of that debate gets hijacked by these neurotic types, the Ted Nugent types that think they need to own every kind of cool weapon on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that you're kind of wondering, what these people would do in a stressful situation where they shoot first and they ask questions later. And it turns out, well, like, getting back to Zimmerman,
Mm-hmm.
I think we get that paranoiac personality that the more guns I have, the safer I'll be.
Mm-hmm.
I think people should have the right to own guns, but they also need to have some personal responsibility in how it's to deploy those weapons, if necessary.
Is the gun lobby too powerful, the NRA?
I think they're very strident. I don't want to take away their First Amendment rights.
Right.
At the same time, I wouldn't want them to go trampling on my First Amendment rights.
Should we have any gun control at all in this country?
It's a good question on that one. I think it's adequate where we need, well, as it says in the Second Amendment, from what I remember of it, we need a well-regulated militia. And, well-regulated means we don't want these guns falling in the hands of a mentally unstable person or some, emotionally unstable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just basically, teaching people, treat these things for what they are. Just tools for defense or for hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But, don't base your whole political perspective around it.
Yeah. Next, Guantanamo.
Close it. Yeah, that's just like this big cancerous sore in American politics today, if you ask me. It's, you know, it's more of a, I think it's basically a tool of terrorism.
Yeah, it certainly is. I agree. Yeah. So, do you think that America is an empire today?
Kind of looking that way. It's like, I was just thinking the other day, instead of, you know, picking on our government for being so overbearing, I think we should kind of take a look at the people who elect, you know, fund these elections, all these special interest groups, you know, the oil, you know, the coal industries and all that, and hold them accountable. If necessary, bring them right under the law like everybody else, like King John was when he was forced to sign the Magna Carta. I mean, I pledge allegiance to the U.S. Constitution, not to the Koch brothers. I mean, if they want to have all that power, okay, but it should not be unchecked power. I mean, power in any form has to be checked and balanced.
Yes. They need minimal control, minimal regulations, yeah. But they're having a system where there's no regulation whatsoever, then it's setting yourself up for failure. And back to the question a few minutes ago, I think that America is an empire, and like other empires in the past, it is fading. It is going down the tubes now. Noam Chomsky and Chris Hedges and a few other people I respect hugely from the old-fashioned progressive left and liberal side.
And Jared Diamond of Guns, Germs, and Steel and Collapse, his books.
Yeah. But what do we do about that? How to get the money out of the political process and do away, to have some control over lobbying, such that the people in Washington who make the laws that govern us are owned by the citizenry and not by the super rich. And money, we've got to take our country back because it's going in a direction I don't like to see where it's going. And like anything else, things are going to go back the other way. I just don't want a tyranny to replace the near tyranny that we have right now. And it'll be great if I can come back 100 years from now and see what the heck happened.
Well, just have some aliens adopt you as one of their own, you know.
So, besides your work at the post office and your other activities, and every Sunday morning you're at the Humanists and you do the audio-video stuff, you record our Sunday morning sessions and meetings like that. And you've been doing that for a while, haven't you?
Yeah.
God, you've made a lot of programs, haven't you?
Quite a few.
Are they available to be checked out?
Yeah, they're on the Humanists of Greater Portland Vimeo website. Just go to the portlandhumanist.org, I think it is, and click on the proper link, and that'll take you to the Vimeo website. And most of our meetings are available. I think there's some that you have to be a member to view, but quite a few of them are available for streaming on your computer. And I try to edit out some of the dead air. Sometimes the projector's not working, or the laptop used in the PowerPoint presentation freezes up. So I take that kind of stuff out.
So what else do you do in your spare time besides work every Sunday morning at the Humanists and work on your novel?
Well, I'm in a band called Gradience, Gradience, and we've been together for over 10 years now.
10 years!
Mostly the same lineup. And we're finishing up our very first CD. We had a mix-down session a couple weeks ago, the final mix before we take it in to be mastered and mass-produced as CDs.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff that you're doing, huh?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like to tell people my day job is there to fund my hobbies. Keeps me sane, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I have a backup sheet here when I run out of questions to ask. This is stands me in good stead because it's additional critical or philosophical questions. Now, at the top of this list here, there's a whole page of them. There's about 15 different questions designed to produce more discussion. But the first two are about two songs that have been going around in my head all of my life. Remember the song Alfie?
I've heard it. I'm not big into musicals, but I have heard of it, yeah.
What's it all about, Alfie?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about? When you sort it out, are we meant to take more than we give? And so on. And that's lingered through all the years. And then my other favorite one is one by Peggy Lee. Is that all there is?
Yeah, I remember that one. I can't remember the lyrics, but I do remember the gist of it.
And very simple ditty, but yet when I play the lyrics back and find answers to those questions that they're asking, then it has some importance to me. And the result is that I think there must be something more that I can do, some way I can be that's different to contribute to the welfare of not just humans, but all life and living things, because we're following Gaia, this earth that we're living on.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like such a far-fetched conspiratorial idea, but when you're polluting the oceans and causing the Arctic ice to melt and the seas to rise, it doesn't seem like it's possible for humans can have that kind of an effect, but they are. And there's something that we can do if we just fight back and don't lay down and let the suckers run over us. This is degenerating into a pity session here, depressing.
Yeah, group therapy, yeah. Those two. Yeah, I was going to say, there's certain other things we can do, to my mind. There's that bumper sticker saying, think globally, act locally.
Mm-hmm.
You might also tie that into the, I think it's the first personal level of jihad mentioned in Islam, mm-hmm. where before you battle every evil elsewhere, battle within yourself first. Mm-hmm. And I think, once people, are taught that they don't have to change the entire world by themselves, but they can change things about their own behavior that could be of benefit to those around them. I mean, that could spread pretty good. I mean, I like to think of myself as kind of an example of that. I wasn't getting along too good at school. Some factors were internal. I think quite a few of them were internal in me, and there were some external, mainly kids who were going through the same puberty as I was. But the further it wasn't, my mind went blank. Basically, I started getting along with people a lot better when I started paying more attention to how my behavior affects mm-hmm. those around me. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to join any other religion or any. This was before I heard of the humanists. Mm-hmm. And basically, I just decided, okay, well, maybe I better pay more attention to how I'm conducting myself. And sure enough, I was gaining more friends. My quality of life was steadily improving. Uh-huh. So it does work. Just have to not think so grandiosely about your role in the world, or on the opposite end, how insignificant you are. Well, you're probably very significant to those around you. You just have to recognize it.
And be nice.
Yep.
One word. So, Mike, thanks for coming on again.
My pleasure.
You have a final thought, a message for the viewers out there? You want to say something to them?
Well, I would say be kind, be charitable, and be friendly, but that's copyrighted by you, so I agree with the sentiment there, so I can't improve on that.
So it's going to time for us to stop now. So keep your pens and pencils handy. You may want to jot down something we'll show you in the closing credits. Let's do some PSA, public service announcements. There's the Washington County, Oregon broadcast schedule for my show. And there's the times and the stations and the days that you can watch the show. And next PSA is for to see how you can see my shows on the web. Google Don Baham on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of shows on there that I recorded a long time ago. Next PSA is to learn more about the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU. Go to www.aclu.org. Without the ACLU, our civil liberties would be totally gone. And now, one more time, I think we got to get my shows broadcast regularly by your local public access station. Go to www.pegmedia.org. And one more we have, oh, we got to end corporate personhood. That Supreme Court decision that said corporations are persons and money is speech. That's totally wrong. It's destroying our country. We got to amend the Constitution to say that. Thank you. Okay, thanks for watching this episode of Conversations with Dr. Don. And my final thought for the day, KFC, my favorite. KFC, not Kentucky Fried Chicken, Dr. Don's KFC. Kind, friendly, and charitable. Be kind, be friendly, be charitable to you too, and you, and you, and you.
And you.
Thanks again for watching, and good night.
Music.
Mm-hmm.